So, hi, morning. We're here in Hartlepool with artist Vicky Jackson. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your practice, Vicky?
Well, primarily I work in performing arts and was a performing arts teacher for a very long time until very recently. But I've also been involved with the Wintertide Festival in Hartlepool for since it began really first as a performing arts teacher, bringing my students there to do performance arts. But since then, in a more and it's sort of a more organising role. So that's meant that I've had some sort of work around lots of different visual arts and mainly working with the community to bring a whole range of arts to the community. And I also have some work as a singer.
Perfect. So, when and how did you first get involved in the arts?
It's a difficult question, really, because I feel like I've always been involved in the arts. My family have always been really interested in the arts. I can't remember a time when I wasn't surrounded by the arts. I know my mum and dad said that I could sing songs before I spoke, so I would sing lyrics before I talked. And I went to see an operetta when I was 6 and sang along with all the words, which my mum and dad were quite embarrassed about.
Oh, fantastic. So, what do you think are your major influences and inspirations with your work?
Well, it's quite a strange one, but I've been in the Madonna fan club since I was 7, which is when her first album came out. And I was just enamored with Madonna straight away. And even throughout my whole life, despite her going a little strange recently,
Yeah.
I've always seen her as a really big influence in terms of her tenacity, her business acumen. But anybody who knows me, if I don't mention Shakespeare, will wonder what's going on, because that's my great love. That's what I really love. And my real passion is inspiring the love that I have for Shakespeare and other people. But recently, my biggest influences are the people in the local community who just don't stop trying to keep arts alive for like Blooming Art, for example, and people who just don't stop and make sure that everybody has access to the arts. So I think they're my biggest influence.
Oh, thank you. Um, um, would you say a lot of your, because you were saying about kind of you could sing before you could talk. A lot of your craft, would you say, is self-taught, or have you had any kind of formal education around the arts?
Um, I'm a bit of a education nerd. So even if I start doing something myself, I then go out of my way to get qualifications in it, which I know some people don't see as important, but I just really love to learn. So that's sort of quite a big thing to me. I did have drama lessons from when I was like, I went to ballet from when I was 3. And that's where I met probably my greatest friend, who I've continued to. She's always been there for me like a sister, so that was really important. Um, but so I did a lot of ballet qualifications. So I was trained in dance probably before anything else, and I don't really do that now. But then I studied drama at school. I went to drama lessons, did external LAMDA exams. I then did an acting diploma with LAMDA. And then as I was teaching singing as part of my performing arts role, I felt it was important for me to go through what the students did. So I then got a grade 8 in singing as well. Um, so kind of a bit of both, really. The singing came as a real surprise to me when I was at Performing Arts College. Although I'd always loved to sing, I didn't think I could. And when I was little, I used to audition for the primary school choir every year and never got in. Um,
Oh, you've got amazing pipes.
and I used to be gutted. I'd go home every year. I've not got in again. So I just assumed I couldn't sing. And then when I was 16, we were told in Performing Arts College we had to do a singing assessment alongside all the other things. We had to be triple threats. So and then I started singing, and the tutor was like, oh my God, you've got an amazing range. And that was kind of it. So I started then looking into it a bit more, and now I teach little kids musical theatre, which is something that's kept me going through all of this. So
Oh, fantastic. So do you generally work alone then, or do you do a lot of collaborations?
oh, well, obviously the nature of performing arts, it's not impossible to do it in isolation, but it's much nicer to do it with other people. And I think that's the same with most arts. A lot of the planning, and I think in the arts, there's so much goes on behind the scenes that often participants don't realize how much work goes into it beforehand. But the bit I prefer most is collaboration. Collaborating with anybody is much nicer than sitting on your own.
Yeah. So why do you think that the arts is important, like for you personally and more generally?
Oh, I think I I think it's absolutely integral to human life. I don't think people can exist without access to the arts. We're surrounded by it in everything we do. Um, I know for me, it's when I'm the most happiest, and the times in life when I've had a really hard time, what has either made me feel better or like allow me to put out the emotions that I found difficult to, maybe, has been through an art form. So I think it's just integral to humans. I don't think we can survive without it. It's a difficult question to answer
Yeah.
because I can't pinpoint why it's important, but it's the most important thing in my opinion.
And has lockdown had a big effect on your practice, or any kind of positive, negative effect on your plans for the future?
Um, well, I put myself in a very strange position of becoming freelance literally October 2019. So until then, in the whole of my career, I'd been very secure. I'd been a performing arts teacher all this time. My job seemed very secure. So when I became freelance, I was really excited about the things that I could do. And then I was really gaining momentum. And in February, I was really pleased with where I was going and thought, gosh, I'd only been going a few months and I've managed to get this far. I was really proud of myself. And then everything came crashing down. So I lost a lot of work, but through connections that I've got in the art world, that's probably the only thing that has made me not just put my head under the covers and not come back out again. Um, and positively, I've been on a really steep learning curve. So I've found probably things that I would have just sort of tentatively dipped my toe into and tried out, I've had to just go, right. So I think the day that it looked like we were about to go into lockdown, I remember sitting in my newly rented studio, thinking, right, I need to work out Skype, and doing a mock singing Skype lesson with my father-in-law from a studio. So I think the skills I've learned are never gonna. I think that's the only positive thing I can take out of it. That there's just so many skills and connections people I probably would have never met before, that because of online things like this that I've now come into contact with. And I think the major thing that's come out is the real camaraderie amongst people who are in similar situations, to sort of, even though they're having a bad time, to reach out and help other people and just be a voice at the end of a phone or a face on a screen. Yeah, I think that's probably the most positive.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Vicky. That's the end of our conversation. Thank you.
Okay.